Welcome to Lesson L02 of Migration Mastery. Let's talk about what actually changes when you move from iptables to nftables and what doesn't. Here's the reassuring math. Roughly 80% of what your team already knows carries over untouched. Your mental model of chains, contract, rule order, all of that stays. About 15% gets remapped to new syntax, 5% is genuinely new capability, and 0% of your hard-won skill is wasted. Same packet flow, just new clothes. So let's map that out into 4 zones. Quadrant 1 is pure reuse. Chains, hooks, packet flow, contract, rule ordering, your iptables mental model ports over at 100%. Quadrant 2 is where the ideas survive, but the vocabulary shifts. Tables, targets, matches all get respelled. Quadrant 3 is workflow muscle memory, persistence files, save and restore commands, the systemed unit. And Quadrant 4 is the genuinely new territory, sets, maps, intervals, unified address families, 2 zones to reuse, 2 zones to relearn. That's the whole map. Now let's get specific. 22 concepts from the iptables course. 18 of them carry over unchanged. On the left, the green column, chains, default policies, contract states, rule ordering, hooks, the accept, drop, reject verbs, loopback logic, rate limiting, even NAT, all intact. On the right, the changes, a new command name, tables you now create explicitly, unified address families, reordered syntax, a different list format, a new persistence file, a new save idiom, native sets, and 1 genuinely new tool, verdict maps. 18 wins, 4 things to relearn. That's the deal. And here's the proof that those 18 concepts really do carry over. Write a rule with iptables, then list it with NFT. And there it is, your exact same rule, just rendered in different syntax. Both commands are talking to the same kernel netfilter framework underneath. This isn't a compatibility shim or a translation layer. It's one engine with 2 front doors. Works on any modern distro. Rel 8 and up, Debian 11, Ubuntu 22. So if the engine's the same, what actually changes? 5 things on the surface. Tables no longer exist by default. You create them. Chains need an explicit hook and priority. The address families merge, so inet covers v4 and v6 in one rule set. Token order flips, the action goes last, no more -j. And your saved config? It is the live rule set. Edit it, reload it, done. Update your runbook for these 5, and you're fluent. Now, those changes sound minors, and they are, but 3 of them trip up experienced engineers in predictable ways. First trap, tables don't pre-exist, so your very first rule fails with no such file or directory, and you'll swear it's broken. Second, input, output, forward aren't built in either. Declare them with a hook and priority, or your rules sit in a dead chain. Third, after migration, trust only NFT list rule set. Iptables save will happily show you a stale, partial picture of the same kernel state. So let's see those changes in practice. Same intent on both sides. Drop by default. Allow SSH from the Office subnet at 5 hits a minute, and log the rest. On the left, 5 imperative iptables commands appended one by one. On the right, a single declarative block, 1 table, 1 chain, hook and priority up top, rules reading almost like English. Different surface, same packet path, identical kernel behavior. Which raises the fair question, if so much survives, why change the syntax at all? 3 principled reasons. First, declarative beats imperative. Your firewall becomes a single document you can diff, not a log of commands you hope ran in order. Second, address families unify. 1 inet rule covers v4 and v6, having your maintenance. And third, programmability is built in. Sets, maps, and intervals live in the kernel, so a 100,000 IP block list needs no external IP set and no reload races. So here's the cheat sheet I promised. your verb map from iptables to NFT. Notice the pattern. Operations map almost one-to-one, matches gain a protocol prefix like TCP deport instead of -- deport, and actions just lose the -j and become lowercase. That's really the whole translation layer. Print this, pin it next to your monitor, and within a week the muscle memory takes over and you won't need it anymore. Now it's your turn. 3 drills, about 45 minutes total, designed to move this from your head into your fingers. Start by translating 3 rules you already know cold using the cheat sheet. Then deliberately trigger trap 01 on a fresh box, so the failure mode is familiar before it bites you in production. And finally, write your own stays and changes list from memory, because the gaps between your list and slide 3 are exactly where you should focus your study time. Before you go run those drills, here are the 5 mental slips that catch senior engineers more than juniors, precisely because confidence in the old model creates blind spots in the new one. Reflexively assuming the filter table exists, forgetting hook and priority on a base chain, mixing iptables and NFT on the same box, trusting iptables, save as your backup, and translating verbatim without refactoring. Each one has a one-line fix on the right. Read these before your team touches NFT in anger. They'll save you a very confusing afternoon. And that's the headline of this lesson. 80% of what you already know transfers directly. The concepts persist, the syntax gets a refresh, you've got a verb map cheat sheet, and the traps are cataloged. Next up, Lesson 03, Inventory. Before you migrate anything, you audit the fleet, scripts, rules, custom matches, persistence configs. That document is what your project lives or dies on. See you there.